San Antonio just pulled off a franchise-altering move, landing De'Aaron Fox in a massive three-team deal, giving Victor Wembanyama the perfect backcourt running mate. And if there were any doubts about this duo, Fox wasted no time proving why this changes everything. In his Spurs debut, Fox dropped 24 points and dished out 13 assists, leading San Antonio to a thrilling 1-point win over the Atlanta Hawks. Speed, size, skill. This isn't just a good pairing, it might be the start of another Spurs dynasty. Let's break it all down. Now, while the NBA world was still reeling from the blockbuster trade that sent Luka Doncic to the Lakers, another bombshell dropped. De'Aaron Fox was traded to San Antonio. This isn't just a big move, it's a franchise-shifting decision. The deal sent Fox to the Spurs, Zach LaVine to the Kings, and a collection of draft picks across the league. But let's be honest, this was no accident. San Antonio spent the entire offseason searching for one thing: the perfect point guard to pair with Wemby. Up until now, they've experimented. They drafted Stephon Castle. They brought in Chris Paul because, well, he's Chris Paul. But everyone knew those were short-term fixes. The real move was coming. And in the NBA, the smartest teams wait for the perfect moment, then strike. That's exactly what the Spurs just did. After years of hoarding assets, they cashed in on a player who isn't just an all-star today, but might have multiple all-NBA seasons ahead of him. And if you think Fox isn't that guy, let's break it down. Fox has averaged at least 25 points per game in 4 of the last 5 seasons. This season, 25.0 points, 6.1 assists, and 1.5 steals per game while shooting 46.9% from the field. His three-point shot, still a work in progress at 32.2%, but his free throw percentage, a career-best 82.9%. And if you need proof of what peak Fox looks like, just rewind to 22-23. That year, he was an all-star, made the All-NBA third team, and won the first ever Clutch Player of the Year award. He averaged 25.0 points, 6.1 assists, and 1.1 steals per game while shooting an absurd 51.2% from the field. Now, D-Fox is exactly what you want in a point guard. He's fast, he's clutch, and he can score in just about every way. This guy isn't just a regular point guard. He won the first ever Clutch Player of the Year award in 2023 and has led the NBA in fourth quarter points over the past 3 seasons. For a Spurs team that's currently 9-11 in clutch situations this season, Fox's late game scoring ability is a game changer. While Wemby is still the go-to guy when the clock's winding down, Fox gives them another elite option when it matters most. Fox is also a monster in the paint. He's averaging more points at the rim than any guard except Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which is impressive in its own right. But what's even more telling is how he transformed the Kings' fortunes. They were stuck in the lottery until Domantas Sabonis came along to help Fox out. The result? The Kings made the playoffs. So, it's safe to say that Fox knows what it takes to change the culture of a team and bring them into the win column. Now think about the pick and roll with Fox and Wemby. This is where things get wild. According to Second Spectrum, Fox is averaging 1.13 points per direct pick as the ball handler on pick and rolls, which ranks 6th in the NBA. Wemby, on the other hand, is averaging 1.16 points per direct pick as the screener, which puts him 2nd in the league. Those numbers suggest that these two could develop into one of the most unstoppable pick-and-roll duos in the NBA. And while Fox is known for his scoring, he's no slouch on defense either, leading the league in steals last season. He can lock down on that end while still being a monster offensively. But of course, nothing is perfect. And for Fox, the big question is his three-point shooting. Over the past 6 seasons, he's only shot better than 32% from beyond the arc once. After an unexpected spike to 36.9% last year, he's back down to his career norm of 32.4% this season. For a Spurs team with other key players struggling from 3, like Stephon Castle, who's a career 29% shooter from deep, and Jeremy Sohan, who's sitting at just under 30% for his career, Fox's three-point shooting is now one of the biggest storylines for San Antonio. If these guys can't shoot, it puts a lot of pressure on Wemby. That said, Fox is still one of the most consistent scoring point guards in the league, averaging over 23 points per game for 5 straight seasons. Even with his shooting woes, he can still break down defenses with his speed and finishing ability. If Fox can get his three-point shooting on track, even just to league average, it could make all the difference for the Spurs. With Wemby drawing so much attention, Fox will have plenty of opportunities to get clean looks from deep. If that shot improves, San Antonio's offense could reach a whole new level. But here's the thing, even more important than what Fox brings to the table is how he fits with Wembanyama. Victor's already blossomed into a two-way star in just his second season, putting up 24.6 points, 10.9 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 4.0 blocks per game. He's already made his first of many All-Star appearances, and in him, the Spurs haven't just found a global superstar. They've got a guy whose potential is so unique, it could change the entire landscape of what greatness looks like in the NBA. The wildest part? This is probably the worst version of Wemby we'll ever see. He's only scratching the surface of his potential, and as scary as he is now, he's going to be downright terrifying in the near future. But for that to happen, he needs a top-tier point guard and a volume scorer who can create intelligently. The Spurs have been desperate for another player to consistently step up and score next to Wemby. Right now, Devin Vassell is second on the team with just 16.2 points per game. That's where Fox comes in. Since the start of the 2021-22 season, he's been averaging 25.1 points per game while shooting a solid 48% from the field. That's exactly the kind of volume scorer the Spurs need. With Fox on the floor, defenses can't just zero in on Wemby. They'll have to divert attention to Fox, which means Wemby gets more freedom to do what he does best: dominate. But it's not just about taking the defensive pressure off Wemby. Fox also means Wemby doesn't have to shoulder the entire offensive load. In turn, this gives him more energy to focus on other areas of the game, like defense and rebounding, without worrying about creating every scoring opportunity. The burden of carrying the offense doesn't fall squarely on Wemby's shoulders anymore. He'll be able to let the game come to him, knowing that Fox will be there to take over when needed. What Fox does for Wemby goes beyond just creating space for him. It's about taking the weight off his back, letting him focus on playing his game without being forced to play every single possession. And that's the key to unlocking Wemby's full potential as one of the most dominant forces we've ever seen. Now Fox is still just 27 years old, entering the prime of his career. While he and Wemby may not be on the same timeline, Fox will undoubtedly be the best point guard Wemby has ever played with. And that's no knock on Chris Paul, who's far past his prime. Fox is an elite pick-and-roll operator, and the potential for him and Wemby to connect on pick-and-roll plays is a scary thought for defenses. According to NBA stats, Fox ranks in the 90th percentile for pick-and-roll ball handlers, generating 1.07 points per possession. That's right up there with Jalen Brunson and MVP caliber Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Meanwhile, Wemby scores 1.16 points per possession as a roll man, which is better than Evan Mobley or Giannis Antetokounmpo. But this isn't even a Wemby that has fully utilized this part of his game yet, mainly due to the lack of an elite pick-and-roll ball handler. But that's about to change with Fox in town. We've already seen what having a veteran point guard can do for Wemby's game. Just look at his chemistry with Chris Paul. That instant connection proves Wemby doesn't need much time to mesh with a talented guard. It won't take long for him and Fox to develop that same chemistry. For the past 4 years, Fox and Domantas Sabonis ran one of the most efficient pick-and-roll offenses in the league. Over the last 3 seasons, Fox has ranked among the NBA's most dangerous pick-and-roll scorers, shooting an effective 54% in those situations, according to Second Spectrum. Fox is quick, shifty, unpredictable, and a dynamic scorer who can also create for others. He's a great mid-range shooter, an elite driver, and a solid playmaker. All of that keeps defenses off balance and forces them to collapse. The only difference now is he's running pick and rolls with a 7'5" unicorn who can shoot from deep or finish above the rim. Opponents won't want to switch on Fox-Wemby pick and rolls, giving both players an advantage over their defenders. Traditional coverages? They're going to struggle because Fox can score, or he'll find Wemby for the easy dunk or jumper. This pick-and-roll combo is going to be a nightmare for defenses. But beyond just a lethal pick-and-roll offense, there's the defensive side of things. Wemby has already established himself as one of the most unique defenders the NBA has ever seen. Not only does he lead the league in blocks, but he also leads in blocks above 10 feet. He's able to contest shots that no one else can. Pairing him with Fox gives the Spurs the ultimate defensive duo to counter every small and big combination the league throws at them. Fox has his own defensive strengths too. This season, he's holding opponents to 46.8% shooting with a solid perimeter defense. He contests 14.7 shots per game and forces opponents to shoot 45.8%, slightly worse than their expected 46.8%. His biggest issue is defending inside. where opponents shoot 62.4% against him within 6 feet. But with Wemby protecting the rim, Fox's defensive weaknesses inside won't matter as much. Wemby can cover for Fox, allowing him to focus on pressuring ball handlers, locking down on the perimeter, and thriving in transition. In short, pairing Fox with Wemby is a nightmare for the NBA. Offensively, Fox's speed, playmaking, and shot creation will open up all kinds of opportunities for Wemby to showcase his elite finishing and floor spacing. On the defensive end, Fox might have his struggles inside, but with Wemby's shot-blocking presence, Fox can focus on what he does best, defending the perimeter and running the transition. Together, they could become one of the most lethal duos in the league on both ends of the floor. Fox doesn't just give the Spurs a boost right now, he's the key second piece for San Antonio's future alongside Wembanyama. At 27 years old, Fox is entering his prime, and while he's set to be a free agent in 2026, the Spurs clearly see him as a cornerstone for years to come. What's even more promising for San Antonio is that they didn't have to break the bank or part ways with their top players to add Fox. In fact, they didn't trade away any of their top 8 players, meaning the heart of their young core is still intact. The deal wasn't too steep, it's just right. The only 2025 picks the Spurs gave up were protected, and there's a strong chance those picks turn into 2 second-rounders instead of a top talent in a loaded draft. San Antonio still controls almost all of their picks, and now they've got a dynamic star duo with Wembanyama and Fox, plus a solid group of young players like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, and Stephon Castle to complement them. They've got 6 of their own first-round picks over the next 7 seasons, plus Atlanta's unprotected firsts in 2025 and 2027. On top of that, they own pick swaps in 4 of the next 6 drafts. They're still loaded with assets to improve their roster and have plenty of opportunities to add more young talent or make moves in the trade market. But let's not just talk about the future. Fox is already improving the Spurs. With him in the mix, they're now a legitimate threat for the play-in tournament. Sitting at 22-26, just 3 games behind the 10th seed, they've come a long way from last season's disastrous 22-60 record. Adding an all-star caliber player like Fox gives them the chance to make an exciting push in the second half of the season. The Western Conference is wide open, and the Spurs have the potential to not just make the play-in, but actually grab a playoff spot. The teams ahead of them are all within striking distance, and if Fox and Wemby can gel quickly, San Antonio could be a serious contender to make the playoffs in the West. If things take a little longer to click, they'll still have time to make a strong push. Either way, it's all upside for the Spurs, and the future is looking a lot brighter now with Fox in the fold. But the biggest question in all of this will be if the Fox and Wemby duo can dominate the league in the nearest future. And it certainly seems so. For one, the Spurs have done what so many general managers dream of, pairing a generational center with an all-NBA point guard. Think Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and John Stockton and Karl Malone. And similarly, Fox and Wembanyama will prove a tough matchup right from the jump, especially offensively. Wemby is already becoming a one-of-a-kind weapon, learning how to manipulate defenses that scramble to contain him. However, we're still a few years away from seeing him reach his full offensive potential. That doesn't mean he won't be awesome during that time. He already is. And in the meantime, playing alongside a dangerous scorer like Fox fits perfectly. We know he's already one of the most clutch players in the league, so he adds a great dynamic in close games. He's a big-time threat in pick-and-roll or pick-and-pop plays. Having him play off of Wemby's gravity will create the best version of Fox, and that of Wemby we've ever seen. The Spurs adding Fox brings back the time when Tony Parker and Tim Duncan roamed the basketball earth. Fox has the same type of speed and quickness Parker exhibited, but he's a superior outside shooter and more explosive attack in the basket. He just has to match the overall understanding of the game and learn when to attack, similar to what Parker developed. So, an offensive-minded, proficient pick-and-roll partner like Fox is exactly what the doctor ordered for the second-year Frenchman. Fox consistently driving into the teeth of a defense with a trailing Wembanyama could be devastating for opposing teams, and they are going to get better with time. So ladies and gentlemen, what we are witnessing might just be the start of another Spurs dynasty with Wemby and Fox as the soul. Not only do they match up very well with the best duo combo in the league, with a few tweaks here and there in the rotation, this duo can challenge for not one but multiple titles. So one thing's for sure, this isn't just a good trade. This could be the start of something special. All right, that's a wrap for this one. Do you think the current Spurs team can make the playoffs this year? And how about champions in the next couple of years? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any more NBA breakdowns. Catch you next time.